Morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Good morning, live from Valdosta, Georgia, on the campaign trail around the great state of Georgia. Let me see where my trusty co-host is this morning. Let's see. There he is.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
David.
Good morning, Tamira. How are you doing?
Good. I'm live here in Valdosta, Georgia. There's a rally, and I just got here just a bit ago. So, good morning, David.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week. I mean, it's uh, this RNC convention was just a little bit that I was able to watch or hear the commentary on. Was hard enough to take. Uh, this 17-year-old kid murdering two people on video um, is it's as bad as the police kill assault on Jacob uh, uh, what is his last name? I'm blanking out on it now. In Milwaukee.
Is it Jacob Blake? What's his last?
Blake, yeah. Um, uh, the this kid. I mean, I have to keep emphasizing that this teenager, 17 years old, I mean, his parents allow him to have this weapon. I don't know what the situation is like for in the country with people allowing I mean that part of the rationale for not giving teenagers the death penalty is that their minds are not developed. You know, uh, that they have very very low impulse control, and yet this young person, could get some a
Let me let's
lethal
let's back up
weapon.
a little bit, David, because I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell you, I have been around the state of Georgia, and I'm gonna
yeah,
tell you, I am not up to speed on national news. I am so on the ground. I am so
yeah.
local to the issues here in Georgia that I am not up to speed. So I'm gonna ask you, and for the sake of those that aren't aware of all the details, I'm sure you followed this story. Why don't you bring us up to speed with what happened in Wisconsin? Start at the beginning,
Okay.
and then let's talk about how we move into
All
solutions.
right. Um, in the midst of some altercation, personal altercation, a young man named Jacob Blake um, was confronted by the police and was shot 7 times in the back by a cop who was a Milwaukee police officer who was restraining him already, um, so that it was in close range. His three children, all under the age of 6 or 8 or something, were witnessing this. They were in the car as he was getting in and was shot, and the officer shot him 7 times. He survived. He's paralyzed from the waist down, and of course there have been demonstrations. There was a car dealership that seemed like that was almost burned to the ground. And a few other things were happening. On the second or third night, this teenager from the Chicago suburbs came up to Kenosha, which is less than an hour away from the Chicago suburbs, armed with a semi-automatic rifle that we now know how to say it's semi-automatic. Okay, um, and confronted people, wounded one person. When two people tried to confront him, he shot and killed both of them. He's still being the police officer has not been charged. this kid is still in. He went back to Chicago after going through police lines with his hands in the air, and was given a pass by these cops. Um, and we anyway. So the point is that there are two things that are going on here. One of them is that all three people that this kid shot, two killed, were European American. Um, so I can't believe this. Um, I don't know how to shut off the phone.
David is answering the phone while we're live. You can't make this stuff up. Like, you cannot make this up.
Yeah,
Okay,
and now Fox News is actually defending this kid. So I mean, we can't. And at the same time, I'm seeing things about you know college educated, college age white kids, who are in their late teens, early 20s, who are ganging up on people as who are protesting, the white supremacy and the police shootings and repression, who are really expressing a lot of intolerance, and anger at people that they're just picking out off the street. Now, there is no equivalence between what this kid did, shooting and killing people. I mean, that's like the Deep South in the 60s. But at the same time as that's happening, the NBA players, the Milwaukee Bucks, refused to play a game. Now, I really, in spite of what everybody says, these guys make a lot of money. This was a strike. This was a workers' strike. They went on strike, and in spite of the fact that they are very wealthy, they acted like workers. They acted in solidarity with the people of Milwaukee. This was not only was it a strike where they withheld their labor power, of playing on the field, on the court, but it was a political strike. This wasn't a strike over wages. So it really demonstrates the highest level of consciousness, and the athletes that are all around the country now who are going on strike, including baseball, hockey, their tennis. I mean, these and a good bit of the NBA. Now they have agreed to go back to playing, but the interviews with these guys, particularly with the black players, and Doc Cooper, who is, I can't remember what his team is, but Doc Cooper, these people were in tears. Big, strong young men, just hurting and expressing their hurt. Doc Cooper, I guess, is a coach who said, we love America, and America doesn't love us back. That's a powerful statement from these guys, and I'm struggling with the whole nature of white behavior, in this context, where I mean, Bill Maher made a comment last night. He said, you can't be more angry than the black people who you're supporting. I mean, that's something that seems to me is part of thinking and acting white. These Black Lives Matter signs that are all over in these real. I mean, I walk and run. There are neighborhoods where there are $500,000, $700,000 homes, and they're filled with signs that are, that say Black Lives Matter. I appreciate that. I think that's a really good thing. But come on, folks, you know, uh, it's you have to put your own lives in perspective. Um, and what's not coming across is the fact that some European American guy, 26 years old in Milwaukee, sacrificed his life. I mean, he went on a skateboard after this 17-year-old and tried to get the weapon out of his hands. Now that's really, that is somebody who needs a statue. I mean, we can't bring him back, but we need to uh, honor the fact that there are people who are out there, European Americans who are out there, you know, who are really risking and losing their lives. And they're not the people who are yelling at folks in restaurants or are on college campuses. you know
Let's bring in some of the comments. He says the young race
yeah,
soldier had an assault rifle, interacted with the police before he
yes,
shot multiple
that's
people,
exactly what
then
I
was
was
allowed
thinking.
to leave the scene following the incident.
Yeah, and that's the other side of it. That's the other. So we need to have a much more complex vision of what's going on in the among European Americans. Um,
Before we
and
jump into
yeah,
the white behavior, because I really like where this conversation is going, David. Let me talk about the mental trauma of
yeah,
what Black people are experiencing.
right,
I cannot, I will not, I cannot watch another person be murdered in front of me. I can't. I can't. I
yeah,
did not watch George Floyd. I cannot. I don't want to see this video of Mr. Blake. I don't want to see it. I cannot. I mentally cannot add another incident like that to my psyche. Like I can't.
yeah,
I get weepy. I get angry. I get sad. I have this roller coaster of emotions as if I'm experiencing the death myself. Like this is
yeah,
somebody and I'm experiencing it too. I can't. And this is what. And when I went to that community some weeks back to where Rayshard Brooks was killed. And remember, we did the episode and we talked about. I ended up at the site where there was a dead
yeah,
body laying in
yeah,
the parking lot. That thing bothered me it bothered me so bad, and it was the worst part of it was that the people that were there, they were used to seeing that. They were used to seeing a black body laid on the ground and for everybody to see and uncovered with no dignity, just lay there. I wasn't okay. I wasn't okay for a while after that. So I cannot watch another incident. I
yeah,
cannot handle another incident. That is why I'm fighting so hard to get to Washington, because white America must repair, must do everything it takes to repair the damage that has been done to Black people. They must. Reparations is now, and I stand on it. I'm bold about it. I'm not asking. We're demanding. This has to stop. This has to stop. So that's the mental trauma is real, David.
yeah,
You
and
talked about you talked about like some of these Kelly Loeffler, who I am running against. She has, she just keep putting her damn foot in her mouth. And I've been wanting to cuss for a long time, David. when I say her name. But she just keep putting her foot in her mouth. And she's acting as if the rioters and the looters are at fault for everything that has happened, as if the shooter had nothing to do with it.
yeah,
The shooter himself had nothing to do with it. It's the rioters, it's the looters, it's all these other things. It's the protesting. It's everything but the shooter. How dare
yeah.
her? I can't wait for November 3rd. We better show up and show out at the polls, because it's people like that we have to get rid of. So now let's talk about white behavior. I'll stop right there.
I stand back from that of your you're reminding me of, of not being um, in that experience, and that uh, I'm insulated from it, partly because of my age, because of my, um, I'm a homeowner, um, and I'm an academic, so I can remove myself from uh, the immediate situation. Um, it is it is extremely upsetting to watch these videos, um, and know that it keeps happening in spite of the waves of protests that have gone on across the country. There are still, uh, you know, law enforcement officers who just, I mean, I don't know how you cannot, be aware of what's going on around you. I mean, it's almost like these guys are they're living within a mental bubble. That
They are aware. They're racist. They are aware.
I'm not denying that, Tamira. I'm just astonished that they think, at this point, with millions of people having gone out on the street, that they seem to be able to continue to practice. So that part of it is that it's structural. They have immunities built into their union contracts, into their codes of conduct, um, and they have the full force and backing of the Trump party. You can't even call it Republican anymore. There are so many Republicans that have deserted it. So the question, so there's a force out there, and European Americans who are trying to do something to stop thinking and acting white, which is the only, there are no white people in this country. There's no such thing as a white identity or whiteness or anything like that. This is purely a social control formation. People
Oh,
who are
David,
here,
I met a lady. Hold that thought. I
yeah,
met a lady on the campaign trail just this week who said to me, and I actually posted this. I know you don't really get on social media like that, but she's a white woman, and she said, "I don't see color." And I stopped her. I said, "Please see my color, because I
yeah,
need you to recognize that my experience is different from yours, and I need you to
yeah,
call it out. So I need you to see my color." She just kind of stared at me because I don't think she even understood. Her heart was in the right place, and I
yeah.
appreciated it and respected it. But I needed her to see my blackness, see that the America doesn't treat me the way they treat you, and call it out.
Right, right. And what I'm getting at here is that these folks who are putting the signs in their yards, and going on marches, and yelling at other people, whose hearts are in the right place, have to mirror what's going on with African Americans. Um, and reflect that, and take responsibility for disrupting, and deconstructing, whatever word you want to use, the white race. I mean, this is the task for people like me, is first of all to become empathetic, to understand that African American folks and other people of color are bearing the brunt of the insecurity, of the death threats, and all of these other things that are going on, and to follow the lead, first of all, not in terms of where you go, because we should be going to places where you can't go, right? Um, Talking to the people that you cannot talk to. And if we're not doing that, we're just hiding behind you. We're making ourselves feel good. we're issuing ourselves a certificate of innocence, you know, and I'm not saying this out of any sense of that I'm out there in the front lines doing it. I mean, I'm not. I'm not. I try to write and I talk on this show. Um, uh, but there's something more than that needs to go on besides street demonstrations and making phone calls to Democratic Party, people who are in the in the Democratic Party phone lists to get them to
So
come
here's
out.
my solution. So here's my solution. I think you nailed it, David, when you're saying that we need white people to really support us in leadership. We need white people to say, we black people know what's best for black people. And we need white people to support us in leadership. We need to see more people of color, more black people, more ADOS in leadership. And we need to make decisions for us, and they need to support us and not tell us what to do.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think it has to go further. I think that European Americans have to understand what there has to be an analysis of we can't simply follow orders from black people. You know, we need to be able to reflect, to mirror what African Americans and other people of color are saying and doing within circles, that are places where it's dangerous for black people to walk on the streets, um, and for because there are dangerous European Americans. I mean, in my past, I've been threatened with death for saying things that were in solidarity with black folks. Um, you know, 3-4 times I've had white guys tell me that they were going to kill me, in not just hinting, but direct death threats, and so I have a sense of fear from that. Um, and there are a lot of white people who are afraid of other white people, right?
I tell the story, David, where you remember when I was running for office and I ran for the state senate, and I had a white lady. She was the last one that was. Everybody else left and started working with my white competitor, because she was white, and they felt like she was more electable. And if you remember, she said to me, "I have to do what's easy for me." The last person that left my campaign in 2018 when I was running for office, that was her statement to me. She said, and I will never forget, this white woman said this to me to my face. She said to me, I have to, she was leaving my campaign, not because the candidate was a better candidate. She said she had to do what was easy for her.
Yeah. And those folks, the Pave It Blue folks who supported Ossoff, I will never be able to get over that. That guy spent $26 million and didn't, and lost that election. Um, we could have we could have maybe won a majority in the Senate, in the Georgia House or Senate, with that amount of money. So there's all sorts of things. Anyway, the point I'm making is that, yeah, easy. Do the easy thing, as opposed to really talking to your neighbors and listening, not just talking, but listening to your neighbors. Um, uh, the European Americans, and I keep making this distinction, talking about people as European American as opposed to white, all right? Because this white race needs to be broken up, and broken down into categories. There are, tens of millions, literally, of working class white people who are getting, who do not, uh, that for whom white privilege means just not getting shot, That's the level at which they are living. Uh, and nobody's talking to them. Nobody is talking about them. These are the natural allies of African Americans and other working people of color. Um, they're the ones who are being exploited. They're working two jobs. They're the ones who are dying from this opioid crisis that nobody is addressing anymore. Um, and it's probably getting much worse than, with people stuck at home. Um, and they're the ones who are the ones who are working side by side in these meatpacking facilities and and other frontline workers. And nobody is celebrating the folks who are actually taking a stand. Um, and so I I'm really concerned that this category, I mean, all of these white people who are European Americans who think and act white, is more than just one way to do it. It's not just racial animus, and hostility. It's also the
So stay there, David. So if they don't think and act white, they don't know who they are.
yes,
So how do, and that's the problem. Like black people, we're real clear. I'm real clear. I'm ADOS. I'm an American
yeah,
descendant of slavery here in this
yeah.
country. I'm black. I'm real clear about who I am. But if white people if they're not white, who are they?
That's
This is where you gotta go.
Yeah.
This is where I think white people have to discover their true identity. I might be
Exactly.
I might be Latino white. I might be from Turkey. I might be from India. I don't know. They gotta start digging and figuring out who else they are besides being white.
Yes, and part of that is the homogenization that took place from the 30s to the 50s, in which the second generation immigrants were absorbed into the white race. They started out as industrial workers, second generation that came from Europe, and they lost their ancestral language. They went into the suburbs where their neighborhoods their neighborhoods broke up. I remember in the 50s and 60s, when I was young, when I was a kid, that people would talk about going back to the Italian neighborhood in the Bronx to get mozzarella cheese and all of these other things that were unavailable in the supermarkets. So ethnic identity was so. Yes, there really is. White is not an identity. It's not a heritage. The only thing that it is there's no culture there. All that there is a set of habits of dehumanizing other people and denying what the reality is. So dehumanization, denial, and and a sense of superiority for no reason, no earthly reason whatsoever. So yes, European Americans have to rethink themselves. We need to rethink ourselves and put ourselves into an anti-white supremacist context. Because as long as we're not in solidarity, we are being used. We're being used. And the folks that are out there who are talking about other white people and condemning them without looking at themselves, without looking at their own responsibilities for solidarity, are what they want to do and what they're actually doing are two different things. They want to be part of the solution, but they're still part of the problem. And that's really where I mean, you know, uh, there are lots and lots of European American working people that are out there that just need uh, folks to listen to them and to affirm their working class identity, you know, as valuable, as honorable as what they know they are, you know, their skill levels, their, you know, all of the things that they do that make this, you know, country one, alongside working people of color, alongside them. And uh, and unless these, you know, the Bernie Sanders supporters and all of these other people, you know, that are out there, the progressives, the leftists, um, uh, uh, don't find their connection with those folks. Um, and even talking about them this way, you know, I'm distant from it. You know, I was a blue collar worker. I know what it was like to work in a factory, to work on a construction site, to work for the subways and the post office. But you know, there seem to be folks that are out there who are just not uh, um, taking up the uh, the uh, the role of building solidarity and what that means. You know, in you know, it does not mean going on demonstrations. You know, that's you being out there with black people when you should be doing the work that black people can't do. That's solidarity, you know, and it means taking risks, and it also means work. It means rethinking your own perspective, and getting over this idea that for everyone, every white person out there is benefiting. You know, it's a system of social control, um, and it draws distinctions that you know, white privilege is a system of social control, and it draws distinction. There's a gulf of of inequality that exists, but it doesn't mean that European American working people are not being exploited. They are. So we need to make these distinctions. Privilege is not necessarily a benefit. There are class privileges that are definitely benefits, and that somebody who is European American who has racial privilege does not mean that they're not exploited. They are exploited by the same people who are exploiting black and brown folks. And unless there's some effort made to make those distinctions, to draw that kind of difference, um, you know, there's no answer to what the Republicans are putting forward. Joe Biden is not giving any answers. Kamala Harris is not giving any answers to working people. I mean, uh, uh, Reverend William Barber said this at the end of they interviewed him at the end of the Democratic Party convention. And he said there was no mention of poor and working people in that entire convention. Nobody talked about working class people or the poor, in spite of all of their homage and praise and support for the anti-racist you know, movement that's been you know, developing. But if we don't take into account that what's going on is a system of exploitation, capitalism, and that European American working people have a stake in overthrowing capitalism, uh, um, alongside of, and they're not going to get anywhere unless they participate with African Americans and ADOS people and other people of color, they're not going to get anywhere, and nobody is bringing them that message. The only thing that they're seeing and hearing is that there are looters and rioters out there, and what listening to the Republicans saying we're your only protection. Protection of what? What do these people got? You can almost flip the. Remember in 2016 in the election, Trump was saying supposedly talking to black people. He really wasn't. What have you got to lose? I would say the same thing to European Americans, European American working people. What the heck have you got to lose? Things are so bad.
But you know what? He was talking to us. He was talking to us when he said, "What do we have to lose?" And honestly, to this day, I felt like he was right. We don't have nothing to lose. We are already, by 2053, the data says that we will be at zero net wealth. Black people are headed on a rush to the bottom.
And what
so go back. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, and what? Say that again.
I said I'll let you finish because when Trump said that, he was right.
Well,
and all black people know it, but white people want to deny that he was right when he was talking to us. Let me say that again. White people want to deny that Trump was right when he was talking to us, when he said, "What do we have to lose?" He was right, and black people knew he was right, but white people wanted to deny he was right. Speaking for us again. Do not speak for black people.
Right.
I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
No. I mean the soapbox is there. Where you jump on it and I jump off it, and I jump off it and you jump on it.
I'm gonna bring a candidate on. She's right outside my window.
Okay. All right.
We'll go ahead and finish that your thought. I'll be right back.
The issue of solidarity is really what we're talking about, and the only thing that working class white people have to lose is their privileges, which mean very, very little to them in real material terms. And the only way that their lives are going to improve is in coordination with, in solidarity with people of color. So let me also point out that this is something that the left media, the left movements of European Americans have just not followed through on. They are, I don't know what they're doing. They're certainly not working with the folks who are European Americans who are working in factories and shops and in poor neighborhoods. We don't even have a sense of where these folks are, who they are, and where they work, where they live. There are people who a few organizations, local organizations in North Carolina, in central Pennsylvania, that are made up of folks who went back home after college or whatever and settled back in their own communities. But let me just say one last thing about this. This is just an example of how people get lost in the shuffle. European Americans. There was the next guy who took a knee after Colin Kaepernick, was a major an athlete, was a guy named Bruce Maxwell from the Oakland A's, from the Oakland Athletics, who in the summer of 2016, inspired by Kaepernick, took a knee in an athletics game. And he was completely isolated. He caught hell for it. His whole career went down the drain, and he finally made his way back. But he is African American and European American. His mother is European American. His father is African American, and he grew up northern Alabama. He was the only black person, and um, anyway. The point I'm making is that this was on HBO's Real Sports with um, with um, what's the name, uh, and anyway, they did a segment on him, 15 minutes or so. And one of the things that I noticed was that the photograph of him that they showed of him taking a knee, there was a white player, one of his teammates was standing next to him with his hand on Bruce Maxwell's shoulder. He was clearly acting in solidarity with Bruce Maxwell. And that whole story about Bruce Maxwell and his decline and how he became paranoid and he was getting death threats all the time and the A's did not support him, never mentioned who this guy was or followed up, anything about him. And I'm just really astonished that this guy just recedes, becomes invisible, when he was obviously acting in support and in solidarity with Maxwell. So there are folks like that who are invisible, and we need to, and they're out there. They're extremely vulnerable. And I don't know whether he ran
David,
away
hold that thought. Hold that thought, David. We're gonna bring in Omega Calhoun. We are live from Valdosta, Georgia. Good morning, Omega.
Good morning, ma'am. How you doing?
Good, 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 good. Let's talk about this rally that just happened right here in Valdosta and the event you're getting ready to have at 1 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We had a rally in Valdosta trying to get the street renamed here. It's named after a slave trader, which was named Forrest. And basically, we're trying to get people to stand up for justice here, awaken people to knowing their right to vote, to get out and vote, registration. Uh, and over in Lanier County, Lakeland, Georgia, today at 1 o'clock, we're having a voters registration bash, to the point where we're giving away free food and everything just to get people in the community to come out and enjoy themselves, to meet the candidates such as yourself. And that way we can exactly explain to the people, the issues, to let them know why it's so important to vote for people as yourself, to put people like you in office, because we need change here in America, and we can't wait till tomorrow.
So talk about what's going on in Lakeland today. You have an event coming up, a voter registration drive. You are really pushing for people to really participate. We gotta change some things, so people have to be involved.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I agree. Um, the main thing right now, we have over 1,200 registered voters for as African American. This is the ones I'm actually targeting right now, and only about 500 of those 1,200 actually get out and vote. And in order to actually create change, we got to get these other voters out, because for years only 500-600 people have actually came out, turned out to vote, and we're trying to change that. And the only way we can change that is we go knock on doors. We do voter registration bashes. I be on corners trying to get people to see the importance of registering to vote and to actually get out to vote. So this year we're making change by actually pushing hard. I'm pushing hard. I actually quit my job this week, and because I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to see people like yourself and different other ones representing us, who have the good intentions in the heart for our people.
Thank you for all you do in the community, Omega. It's going to take, David, it's going to take this young energy. This is the next generation. Like, you're one generation, David. I'm another generation. I'm a little older than people know. I'm another generation, but Omega, and we're going to bring Mr. Evans Premison in just a few minutes. This is the next generation, and they got to motivate that generation of young people to get out and vote. And it's a different language, David. I kind of talk the talk and walk the walk, because I have young children, these 20, I have a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old, so I can talk, I can navigate a little bit, but it's going to take them. This is their fight. This is their time now. So Omega, I thank you for all that you're doing in the community to get people out, get people registered, get people active, get people participating, and get people fighting back. So thank you for all you do, Omega. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, I'll see you in just a little while. I'm headed to Lakeland, so I'll see you. I know you got to get there and get going, so I'll see you in just a bit.
Okay, then. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. See you in a little while. Mr. Evans, let's see. We got some sound. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You are running for the state house, Georgia House of Representatives, right?
Yes, District 176.
Talk about that. Talk about that district. What you doing? What you want to see different?
Well, we're actually out here. I'm headed to Lakeland also to get out and just canvass some more. And we're trying to fight this voter suppression, like he was saying. We have to fight this in the South more so. And early voting is October the 12th. So we're trying to get everybody motivated to come out and vote today, or get registered today, and be ready and be more motivated to get in this battle that we are facing a coming 2020 election. I'm very motivated, and I just want to motivate the young crew, the youth. Like them seeing someone that is look more closer to their age and can kind of relate to what they're going through, we could actually build more young entrepreneurs in this area, and that's what I'm shooting for.
Small businesses. I come from the small. I actually owned a salon for 10 years. I did services for 18, and I totally believe in small businesses. I believe in entrepreneurship. I believe that is how we change communities, where we have people that can do everything, and that dollar can start to circulate over and over and over in communities. And this is how we build stability. This is how we have some security. This is how we have generational wealth. So we have a lot of work to do, and I'm excited that somebody as young as you has put their name in the hat. Put your name out there, get out there, and let people know that we can change things, but we got to change things on the inside. We got to get on the inside to make sure we can get stuff done on the outside. So thank you for all you're doing, Evans.
Yes, definitely need a seat at the table. We want to dedicate this time for all the youth to step up, get to the polls. If you want a change in your community, get involved, contact me, let me know what you want to do, and let me know what it is that you really want to achieve and change and bring about a positive impact on the community. Like we want youth centers here. We need more Medicare and healthcare expansion, and we need youth centers where our youth are more educated. And I just recently opened up a cultural bookstore in Ware County area, which I'm trying to get another in the Valdosta area also, to promote literacy, because we want our youth to love reading, not get aggravated when it comes to things of that nature.
Yes. Yep. Well, I appreciate you, sir, for all you're doing. If y'all hold up a minute, this broadcast will be over in about 10 minutes. David and I are going to wrap it up, but I'll follow you guys over to Lakeland, and let's go over there and let's stomp. Let's let people know that the change is here and change is now, and we can get it done.
Change is now. Yes. Change is now. Yes, we will make the difference.
We will make the difference. Amen, brother. Yes. So y'all give me about 10 minutes, and I'll trail you guys on out of here, okay?
All right, let's go.
All right, let's go. See you in a bit. David, it's young energy, David. We got young energy out here. It's time for change. People want something different. I'm excited about 2020. I'm excited. I really, really am.
Wanting to issue a challenge to European Americans who are out there who want to give support to this this movement that's developing. I want I want to ask them a question. How can you talk to your other European Americans and convince them that it's in their own interests to expand the vote, to increase the turnout of African American voters? How is that gonna make their lives actually better, and not see that movement as being a threat? It threatens their white privilege. But there again, that's the issue for progressives, is to raise that question with genuinely raise the question with European American working people and poor people. What have you got to lose? Use Trump's language against him. What have you got to lose? So, and then examine what their answers are, because listen to what their answers are, because that, I think, is where European American working people are going to come. If somebody's listening to them, they're going to think it through. They're going to think through and realize that this privilege system has given them not nothing, but next to nothing.
I will have to, for some white people, this privilege system has worked quite well for them, David. So we can't deny that it has worked for some of them. But I can tell you, in some of these places that I've gone, David, I see poor white people, and they're in the same boat as poor black people. So they, those are the people that I hope that, will really take a look at this and say, this ain't working for me. The way things are going, it's not working for me. So I have to stand with those who are in the same boat that I'm in.
Yeah, and that's my distinction that I'm making between people who are getting class privileges and people who are getting racial privileges. The racial privileges are definitely, to try to hook in and corral these folks who have what I would say is next to nothing, because they're not getting shot in the streets in the same proportion as they're not experiencing the kind of police brutality and terrorism that black people are, but they are treated by police with contempt, without respect. They get arrested, for all of the things, and the only thing that they have to show for it is that they're not African American. So they're really.
Well, that to them, at least I'm not black. At least they didn't shoot me in the back. At least they don't have that knee on my neck, and at least they didn't strangle.
Yeah,
that's the benefit, David.
And I agree that that's a privilege. I don't consider it. It's not a benefit if instead of getting two fingers chopped off your hand, you only get one. That's we could call that a benefit. But that's what we're talking about here. So the question is, are these progressives who have some, ability to have some mobility, have some influence, are they going to focus their attention on bringing those people into the fold, bringing the message of solidarity, and at the same time pointing out that that's going to put you on the front lines. That's going to involve taking more risks. That's going to involve going out there to places where you are not going to be welcome. You're going to be treated with suspicion. and finding a way to make connections, to draw connections with other European Americans who are really hurting. They're just not hurting as bad, you know.
You're asking white people to do the right thing, David. That's what I hear
Yeah.
you saying. Do
Well,
the right thing,
yeah,
not the white thing. Do
yeah,
the right thing.
yeah, and that's a good tagline to have. You know that um, no matter how many demonstrations you go on, you're still you're still exercising you're still in a protected status until you're going out and really going to the people in North Georgia, for instance, who may elect this QAnon woman, to Congress. I mean, if I was, uh, you know, um, had any influence over Georgia Democratic Party strategy, I would be sending dozens of organizers up to that, Rome Dalton area and mobilizing people. We've been
This
up
is
there.
why this is where we have if we want to talk about the problem. The Democratic Party in Georgia doesn't have a strategy that's inclusive. They pick their
Yeah.
candidates. They know who they want to get elected. They support those candidates, and instead of saying we're going to support all of our county parties, making sure that they have the resources. When you have county parties around the state that are asking candidates to help them help us, it's ridiculous when we have a state party that should be helping all of us. Like, how do you come to the candidates and say, and this is what's happening? They're asking candidates, to make let's put our money together so we can get you seen and heard, and we can get your platform out in our county. Georgia has 159 counties. I don't know any of us that are, real grassroots candidates who can afford to put money in every single county party when we have a damn state party who should be supporting all of us. I have a problem with the Georgia State Democratic Party. I absolutely do. When you have a website that don't have everybody in Georgia that's on the ticket, on the ballot, the first thing that the Democratic Party should do is to go and make sure every candidate is on that website. Every race, every candidate is on that website. So every Georgian could know. You go to the Georgia Democratic Party's website, you can see every single race, every single candidate, and all their websites are connected. That is how we win. I don't even get the impression that the Georgia Democrats want to win. They want to pick their candidates, and they want to do, there's so many things going on behind the scenes. I'm trying not to get on my soapbox today. It's frustrating, David, because I'm spending a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy around the state of Georgia and hearing the problems that's out here, hearing it, and not just hearing it, David, seeing it. I see it. You can ride through some of these rural areas, David, and people are there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. There's no jobs. There's no opportunities. There's no grocery stores. There's no hospitals. You got people out here just damn near barely surviving.
Yeah.
And we got a Democratic Party that's picking candidates that are moderate, that are towing the party line.
Yeah. Not only that, but they are writing people off. Large numbers of people who could be part of the constituency that would give them a wave. This could be a wave election in Georgia. Well, it's a little late to be doing anything about it now, because this is just people showing up, coming into an area where Democrats have not been, people have not been Democrats since they were Dixiecrats. Let me put it that way. And
they still Dixiecrats, David. And we got about 1 minute left at the top of the hour, because I have to get moving and move on to Lakeland, and I'm going to another Glenn County. At the end of the day, I have a full day ahead of me, so we got about 45 seconds left in this broadcast. We got a lot of work to do, David. I am fired up. I am pissed off. I'm ready. We got to have some radical change in this state. We got to take over. I love the energy of these young people that are coming out. I'm loving it. It's contagious. We got work to do, David, in this state of Georgia.
Right. Okay. Good luck today. Take care of yourself.
I will. Let's go ahead and close us out. Giving a voice, we give a voice every week, David and I, to issues, activism right here in the state of Georgia. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, your candidate for the United States Senate. My website is tamara4georgia.com. You can find Mr. David Slavin on Acknowledge the Divide right here on Facebook. And you can find us every week, every Saturday right here at 11 a.m. talking about everything: race, racism, race relations, black people, white people, everything.
And we
don't miss a beat.
And we need to hear from European Americans about their experiences working on the struggle against white supremacy, and their successes and failures at doing it. If we can begin to build up a conversation around that, we can begin to build up a set of create a toolbox from which people can draw. And we need to get up to North Georgia, where so many of these poor working class whites live and work and are struggling, really struggling, and invite them to understand to the reality that their lives are much closer to the lives of African American folks than they are to the upper class, that bullies them and pushes them around and tells them what to think as well as what to do, as their bosses and landlords. Yes. So.
All right, David. We'll see everybody. We'll see you next week. I'm sure. I don't know where I'll be, guys. I'm everywhere, somewhere in Georgia. Right now, I'm in Valdosta. I'm on my way to the next city. All right. I love you. See you next week, everybody. Power to the people.